So we just got back from the first hospitality break. It felt like we were having a pretty good game. I actually thought we were doing better than it turned out we were actually doing. A couple of our boards match pointed worse than I thought they would. And we just had that really big round last round, and we noticed during the break that later in the session we're going to get to play two boards against the leaders of the event from the afternoon, which we were really happy about. Whether or not we would end up having a good round against them, it was nice to know that we were going to get a shot at them, and that they couldn't just have a really good game and we could have no chance. So on this board, I picked up this 12 count and partner open two clubs, so I have a slam forcing hand. And systemically, it's normal for me to bid two diamonds. And Joel bid two no, showing 22 to 24 balanced. Now, I could just, I know I'm going to bid six. I figured since I have 12, if Joel's got 24, there is a decent chance for us to have a grand slam. So we played Puppet Stamen, which was the only reason I really took any action. I decided to check if he had a 5-card major, because then at least I could have a reasonable shot at exploring slam grand. So I bid 3 clubs, and Joel bid 3 no, denying a 4 or 5-card major, so I just blasted 6 no. It was going to be too hard for us to find out if we were making 7 clubs. So 6 no, and they led the 9 of spades. And Joel had this, as you can see, a 19-point hand with 6 diamonds, and I think that his evaluation on this hand was just perfect. It's funny because usually you're upgrading 19-point hands to 2-0, but this hand is just so much stronger than any normal 2-0 trump opener that I think he made a great decision to bid the hand this way. Now, from looking at the hand when it came down, Joel thought he was just home free. He was counting 2 spades, 2 hearts, 6 diamonds, and 2 clubs for 12 tricks, and that he was just going to have to play this out to try to figure out where to find an over trick. And we're already in a pretty good spot. He knows that it's going to be a good board for 6-0 making because he only has 19 and I have 12, so it's possible that some people will end up missing slam. So the 9 of spades went around to the queen. And Joel played the ace of diamonds, and he got some horrible news that diamonds were 4-0. So now his contract was in jeopardy. Joel he set up diamonds by leading a low diamond out. That was something that had to happen. And now North played back another spade. And South made a critical mistake on this trick. North had led the 9 of spades, which had put the 10 of spades with South. So the 8 of spades was a card that his partner could have had. So once South played the 8 of spades, it became clear to Joel that South had King 10-8. So this is a situation where you're supposed to play the card you're known to hold, and rather than playing the lowest card that's going to force out the ace. So Joel now we'll see how that information helped him. He started running his diamonds, and he knew at a worst case scenario he was going to be able to take a heart finesse. But he decided to try to see if he might get some extra opportunities. He cashed a couple diamonds and watched South discard a bunch of hearts. Now Joel played a club to the king and a club back to... He cashed a heart and played a club back to his ace. So South has followed suit to everything except diamonds, and North has followed suit to every trick so far. So he knows North's distribution is either going to be 2, 2, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 4. That's what it's looking like. So he plays a 10 of diamonds and throws away a spade, and now he's South pitched a spade. And now when he played the 3 of diamonds, and South pitched the 10 of hearts. So he knows South started with 5 spades and no diamonds, and he either has 6 hearts and 2 clubs, or 5 hearts and 3 clubs. So he knows that just from playing out the cards and all the cards that South pitched. So now when he played a heart up towards dummy, he didn't know what to do. He could have finessed or played for the drop. He ended up playing for the drop, and so he played South to be 5-6-0-2. Now the only reason that really he had standing out to do it was during the bidding I had not mentioned that South hesitated before they passed in first chair, and then they hesitated again over 2 diamonds. So it really felt like they had a tough problem, and the hand that they ended up having was 5-6 in the majors, and they just didn't know what to bid. And I think Joel really picked up on that at the table, and he did great to decide not to finesse the heart and to play for South to have been squeezed with the king of spades and the queen of hearts. So Joel did great. We scored our slam for a huge board, and that's 3 in a row. On to the next one. So on the second board, Joel opened a spade, and I have this beautiful 3-2-3-5 9 count with 2 aces. It fits pretty well into my range for 2 spades. I feel like it's really borderline strong enough for a limit raise. However, with 9 points in a large match point field, most people in the room are just going to be bidding 2 spades. There's no real reason for me to stick my neck out and make a limit raise and try to push to an aggressive game. I feel like if we end up in the same contract as the other people with our hands, that Joel's just going to play it better than most of the field. So I just bid 2 spades, and it went 3 hearts overcall, and Joel bid 3 spades. Now his 3 spades is strictly competitive. We play a convention called maximal doubles in the situation, and this is a very specific situation where the opponents compete at the 3 level. You always need your three of your major to just be a competitive bid. Joel's 3 spade bid, it just means I'd rather play 3 spades than defend 3 hearts. Now the problem is that you still sometimes have invitational hands, and there's no bid that he can make here that would be able to invite me to game. So maximal doubles is for the specific spot where there's no bid available. Double would say, partner, I have an invitational hand for game, can you bid game? And so, for instance, it does not apply if it went a spade past 2 spades and the opponents come in with 3 diamonds. Now, if they had bid 3 diamonds, now a 3 heart bid by Joel would be a generic invitational bid, the last train to try to get to game. So here, Joel's 3 spade bid said nothing, didn't give any interest to 4 spades. He just felt like he wanted to declare 3 spades. Now, this is not my style to really want to bid again in this spot. I feel like I'm going to be punishing partner on a lot of their hands for their 3 spade bid. And now, except I started to think about Joel's range for his 3 spade bid. Now he's non-vulnerable, so he's going to do it a lot. I appreciate that. But since I have a doubleton heart, I know that he hasn't stretched to bid 3 spades on short hearts. He doesn't have a singleton heart and just wants to bid 3 spades. He most likely has 3 hearts or 2 hearts, probably 2 hearts, and it sounds like probably 6 spades, but he could be 5-4-2-2. I felt like there were so many hands that we could make game that and we had a lot of momentum from the last 3 boards. I decided to give him a push in this hand. I'm sure that it's not the right bid. It felt right at the time, and so I gave it to him, and that ended the auction. Now the opponents led a low heart, the 3 of hearts. They were playing also 3rd and 5th. It feels like everybody in the room was playing 3rd and 5th today. And Joel had the absolute disaster hand for me. He had all of his points in clubs. Having 6 points in clubs, it was good because we had a double fit. But if we're going to be in a 20-point game, we really are going to need to have some suits that have finesses. If his king of clubs was the king of diamonds, now we have a reasonable shot at making game. We'll need the club finesse. But on this particular hand, it looks like we just have no chance. He's got 2 heart losers, a likely diamond loser if the opponents can break diamonds, and at least 1 spade loser. So it's looking grim. Now the 3 of hearts went to the king of hearts, and they followed with the ace. So now at least one nice thing is that South's on lead. It's not going to be easy for them to shift to a diamond. So if clubs are 2-2, Joel's probably in pretty good shape on a non-diamond play to actually have a chance to make this hand. All he'll have to do is avoid losing 2 spade tricks. So as I thought, it was difficult for them, and they shifted to a trump. Joel put up the king, and it went low. Now, Joel had sort of 2 chances. He could try to knock out a spade and guess spades right. He could lead a low spade and hope the ace pops out. Or he could lead the queen of spades and hope the jack drops. And he can't afford to play a diamond over to dummy's ace, because then when the opponents win the ace of spades, he'll have to lose a diamond. So his last choice is to play a club to dummy and then lead a spade. But that is going to open him up to a potential club ruff. Now, in general, when the opponents don't lead a singleton and they don't shift to a singleton, it doesn't look like they have a singleton. So it doesn't feel that unsafe for Joel to actually cross in clubs. So that's what he did. He played the jack of clubs over to the ace and a spade. And sure enough, the jack of spades popped. So now the only thing that he had to avoid now was if they played a club and roughed it, he would be down. And so they played back a club, and they didn't have any more trumps. So that was a lucky, very, very lucky result. I felt like I got a little bit unlucky on where I hit Joel in his range for three spades. He could have had a totally different hand that would have fit much better for me, but at least it all came out in the wash when the opponents had an impossible time finding the defense. South actually had two chances to beat this hand. They could have shifted to a diamond, but it doesn't look like a very easy play. But they also could have played their singleton club. Now, since we had this auction, 1 spade, 2 spades, 3 spades, 4 spades, South must think that the room is not going to be in game. And when you're defending a hand where that's a different contract than the rest of the room, they need not worry about giving up an extra over trick. So they really should be defending this hand thinking, how can I get 4 tricks? So they knew that they had two hearts in, and essentially they're going to need their partner to have a trump trick in order to have a chance to beat the hand, because they could get a club ruff or a diamond trick, but they can't. It's very unlikely that they're going to beat it if Joel has solid trumps. So I think that it probably would have been the best for South to play a club back. I think that it just would have. It was so likely that they needed this layout. They needed partner to have the ace of spades or perhaps the king of spades, and that declarer would have to lose a trump trick, and then they could score a ruff. So they didn't find it, and that leaves us with two great rounds in a row, and we're well on our way.